Cody, what was the purpose of this trip? What were the main goals?
Well, we wanted to go there and see how the work had been progressing, as we had been there a couple other times and we'd seen it grow from basically one church in one village to several churches in the area to many churches in many different areas. We wanted to go there and try to encourage them, evaluate what was taking place, and to see how we might be able to help them as we were there and what we could do after we came back.
And any trip to Congo begins with a flight into Kinshasa, international flight, and then a flight from Kinshasa out into the province we're there, which is Bandundu province. But from there, what was your trip like? Where did you start and where did you go this time?
Well, we arrived into Kikwit, which is where we would fly the first from Kinshasa to Kikwit, and we arrived there Friday morning, midday, something like that. And so we rented a vehicle to take us out to Masongo, which is kind of where the work is centered.
And that's where we went last time.
That's right, yeah. We actually stayed in the school administration building and the church offices. So it was a building that they had built specifically for that, and so that was where we slept the first night or two. And so we started there, saw the brethren there. We spent the Sabbath there with them, of course. And just a blessing seeing them again, seeing people that we hadn't seen for many years, but that were still holding fast to the truth that they had learned.
Wonderful. Well, the last time we were there, we walked to a number of different villages. And before this trip, Kasongo sent us a map that showed us where we'd gone last time, and then showed us a greatly expanded area where the work has continued to go on now. And I know you had wanted to go out and visit some of these new areas. Can you tell us about that? Tell us about the churches there, the work there?
Sure. The further areas, there was one area in particular I wanted to go to. There's several. There's like 3 or 4 areas that are separated by 50 to 100 miles from Masongo, and so it's difficult to make it to all of those, obviously, but we wanted to get a sampling and visit at least 1 or 2 of those areas. And so the first day we actually walked out to a village that was relatively close, and it was a new village. There was just a school. Was no secondary school there, and so they had established the secondary school there and were in the process of establishing a church there. And so we walked out there, and it was neat to be out there and to receive the reception from the village, and then just see what the needs were and how excited people were that there was now a school and that they wanted a church there too.
So this time, how much walking did you end up doing between villages? I know last time we did lots of walking. Did you do quite a bit of walking this time?
Cody did probably twice as much as I did, but I think we figured I walked around 45 miles, which was a lot for me. It was really a good exercise program that we were on.
And it helps you to appreciate all of these Bible workers that are working there, the places that they're going. It takes so much effort.
And it's amazing how much strength they have. They carry, not only do they walk 20, 30 miles sometimes to get to a village, but they carry 15 to 30 pounds of weight on their head as they're walking. And down steep hills or up steep hills, it doesn't matter. They can just keep going. And it was amazing to me.
I agree. They're working hard, and it takes sacrifice to be able to push and continue to push this work out.
And they don't just take a little stroll. I mean, it's not a Sabbath afternoon walk or something like that. I mean, one area that we actually ended up driving to, we weren't sure if we were going to be able to get a vehicle at first, and so they said, well, it is possible to walk there. You have to get up at about 3 in the morning, and maybe you'll get there by 11 or midnight the next day, or that same day. Yeah. So you would be walking, I mean, whatever that is, 18 hours or something like that. And
30, 40 miles.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably even more, 40 or 50 at the rate that they're walking. So, I mean, that's the only way to get to some of these areas, and they have a burden for these souls, so they're willing to walk those distances to try to bring the message there.
What was your impression? Tell us about some of the villages that you visited, and what churches are there, the schools that are there, the state of the churches, things like that.
The second area we went to, which was actually, we drove there because it was a distance of about 50 to 100 miles from where Masongo was. And so as we ended up, it took us like 7 or 8 hours driving there, going it through their roads, which they weren't too bad, but you always get stuck a couple times and things like that. But one thing that was really neat about this village, they had been preparing for us. They had built a very large house there for us, actually, by their standards. And were supposed to have been there a couple days before, but because we were unable to arrange transportation, we didn't make it till a couple days late. So they were all worried that we were broke down somewhere or something had happened. And so as we drove into the village just basically erupted. People started running behind our Jeep, and we went into the main part, and they were honking and singing, and then we went to the where the mission compound was, and virtually a large percentage of the village came, and we prayed together there, thanking the Lord for the safety and that we had brought us there. That village is actually a relatively large village. You were there more than I was. What would you say, about 1,000 or more people that live there?
Yeah, I would say 1,000. We figured there was around 600 plus that just came to the meeting, and so there was quite a few people there.
Yeah. And you said they didn't have a school there, except the school that had just been established by our workers there.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to think of that a large village of about 1,000 that didn't have a school or anything like that.
Yeah.